to Civil Discourse Now. I'm Mark Small.
And I'm Paul Ogden.
And this is a beautiful but crisp October 6, 2012.
It is, Mark.
We are videotaping this, and we'll be on Saturday afternoon, the same day, from the Village Cigar in Broad Ripple. It's located on College Avenue. What's the exact address here, Charlie? It's 6513 North College Avenue in Indianapolis. If you're familiar with the Broad Ripple area at all, look for the Vogue and go north on College. It's right there. It's
one of the few places you can still smoke here.
You can smoke cigars here, and they have an excellent menu of cigars, by the way. And you can't smoke cigarettes because of the zoning ordinance, which is weird.
It is strange.
Hey, that's coming up for trial on the preliminary
injunction? I believe it is. What day? 24th, 25th?
Of October.
Of October.
In the U.S. District Court.
Yes. Some good attorneys, I believe, are going to be arguing for the plaintiffs, Mark.
Well, I hope they're good.
I hope so.
See what happens. What happened this week in the news, Paul?
The big news, Mark, was there was a debate, I believe, Wednesday night.
See, I don't call it a debate when it's like a format where the two opponents don't get to cross-examine each other.
True, and what was interesting about the debate was they had these rules are negotiated in detail by both respective camps going in. But they seemed to throw the rules out, and poor Jim Lehrer got run over.
I don't know if this poor Jim... Look, if he's going to be a moderator on something like that, I think a moderator ought to have the ability to mute the mic of either candidate if they go over time. Just do it that way.
And I think that may happen with I bet you the next debate, the moderator, Candy Crowley, the next presidential debate, she will be much more aggressive in terms of enforcing the rules.
Let's talk about what happened. First of all, I think President Obama took downers before he got down there.
And that is part of the criticism of his performance.
What, that he did downers?
Not that he did downers, I'm sorry. That's just a Mark Small rumor. That he was not, didn't bring his A game, that he wasn't excited about being there, that he appeared to be annoyed by being there, and in that kind of debate, so much of it's visual.
Yeah.
Like looking at your watch during the debate and things like that.
I mean, like I'm doing because we time segments to go on YouTube. The thing is, the guy has asked people to give and give and give, meaning money, but also energy and effort. All of the year leading up to the debates, and he didn't give any effort then at the debate. He's like looking down at the podium at his notes. What the hell's that? I mean, I debated in high school and college. And
it was a split screen. He was on camera. Was it split screen the entire time?
No, not the entire time.
Okay. But there were times when there was a split screen.
Yes. So he's sitting there making notes. I mean, what's the deal with that? I debated in high school and college. And I can tell you that if you're into debate, and I do it 8 years, you get excited about every round. But there are rounds. We went against Kentucky when they were ranked second in the country, UK, and we beat them. We didn't. You don't know the results of the debate while you're in the tournament. You don't find out about it until later. But I knew that we were pretty close to them. And we hit a team from a small college from another state that wasn't ranked. And we were down after that. Our energy was down. And they threw arguments at us that we weren't on our toes for and didn't make sense, and we didn't have... That didn't apply here. There wasn't any prior thing he had. This was the only debate that they had that week. He knew what the issues were, and then just listening. When Mitt Romney said, well, and we have $1.2 trillion in debt, all Obama had to say was, well, and we're down to 1.1 now. It was 1.2 when I took office. He only had to say things like that. Or when Romney said, well, and under my plan...
You're not talking about the accumulated debt. You're talking about the annual debt.
Yes. Right. And when Romney said, under my plan for health care, we will cover pre-existing conditions, his own people had told him 2 weeks before, after he had said that was wrong and not to do it. He did it again. All of those things are matters upon which President Obama should have been briefed and ready and had notes in front of him. You've done oral argument at appellate courts. You know how you have your notes there and you have everything kind of organized. You should have been right on it and ready to respond.
Rebuttal time, and point out where they're clearly wrong.
Yeah.
Things like that. Having said that, I think the argument is that a lot of Republicans are. I described it as they're dancing in the end zone after they scored a touchdown in the first half, and there's still another half to play, and you're behind.
Yeah. You
don't do that.
Anybody who does the end zone dance before they reach the end zone, normally it doesn't turn out real well.
Right. And you got to kind of wonder if you're doing the end zone dance. It sort of says you don't get there very often. So
that's another thing too. Don't act like you've never been there before.
That's the phrase I was looking for. I think there was a coach that said that. So anyway, having said that, I don't think there was a huge difference between the two debate performances. I think you possibly think there's a bigger. But the thing is, it's not just the debate performance. It's it's the analysis afterwards, and that's where Romney scored big.
Well, but there's also the thing that, and I did a scoring sheet on the debate. Before the debate, in high school and college debate.
Before the debate, they were even, right? Before they started?
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
There was, you got a possible 30 points as a speaker in high school and college debate. At least you used to. I don't know if it's changed. And you have certain categories like delivery, organization, reputation, stuff like that. So I scored the debate as I thought it would be scored if I were doing points on a ballot. Before I said I favored Obama by 5.5 because I thought he had a really good position going in, and I thought he was much better on his feet. Afterwards, I scored them Romney 12, Obama 6, and I noted that's an abysmal score even for high school novice debaters. There were so many things that Obama could have done and he didn't do. And the expectations were there. Now everybody's acting like this was some game-changing event because the candidate had one off night. And I just think that that's kind of a bastardization of the electoral system.
It is. The first debate typically has the highest viewership. We got two more debates coming up for presidential candidates. We have one with the vice presidential candidates coming up this week, which that'll be interesting. And a lot of it, too, has to do with the expectations going in. You hear both camps try to lower expectations for their individual because it's normally measured against the expectations that have been set. So you heard the Romney people talk about how President Obama was such a great debater, and you heard President Obama's people talk about Romney's just had all this time to prepare, and so they're trying to set the bar of expectations high. Depending on which side.
Another aspect of debates between incumbent presidents and opponents for elections, we've only had this debate format since, the first presidential debate on TV was between Nixon and Kennedy, and neither was an incumbent. There have only been 6 prior to this, and 5 out of the 6 were won by the challenger, not the incumbent. The exception being 1996 with Bill Clinton. So that figures into it somehow, but also in 2000, a significant, was it 2000 or 2004? When Cheney went after vice presidential candidate John North Carolina.
Edwards.
Edwards. Went after Edwards, and that kind of shifted the momentum of the campaign a little bit.
I don't recall that as well. Typically, the vice presidential candidate doesn't make a huge difference in terms of who wins the election. Now, one thing that maybe looking back, I personally think Ryan's a good candidate. I know you don't. But one of the things that might have helped Romney out more was to pick a person from Ohio or Florida, 2 states that are looking very, very competitive right now.
Yeah, although Ryan went to undergrad in Ohio.
I'm sorry?
He went to undergrad in Ohio.
Who did? Oh, Ryan? Okay. So, anyway, but that's neither here nor there. And we got 2 presidential debates after that.
Yeah, and I think that a couple of things about this last one also. One is the day after, it was like President Obama was trying to make up for lost ground, what he didn't say the night before, in the speeches that he made the next day. And 2, Romney made statements that were blatantly untrue in the debate, and nobody called him on it. And one of Obama's advisors said, well, we weren't going to try to fact-check Romney because that can be too exhaustive of an effort. But that was like Ryan saying earlier in the week, I'm not going to give you the facts on the math on my budget plan because it'd take too long. And it's like, that's not...
Well, one thing, too, he said that his tax cuts won't add to the deficit because any tax cut he does, he's making it so it doesn't add to the deficit. That was that kind of...
revenue neutral.
Well, that kind of logic. It's like, I'm going to do this, but it's not going to cut the... I can't phrase it correctly, but
it's like,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's going to end up this way just because I'm saying it's going to end up this way.
Right.
And it just didn't make any sense. And then all that President Obama did in his rebuttal was start rattling off numbers that that didn't mean anything. It was like filling time. The next debate is going to be a town hall format. But I blew the call on this last debate when I said that I thought...
Well, typically, and I think you pointed this out on your blog. I do read your blog.
Oh, you do?
Yes, and you said you pointed out that I had said that challengers typically win this first debate. And that's what happened. So I don't think it's a huge surprise.
So you're pointing out that you read my blog because I quoted you. Thank you, Paul.
Exactly.
This next one, though, it's a town hall format. First of all, Obama's very, very laid back, and I think he does better with people one-on-one. Second, he's going to be really hunting for bear on this. So I think that's going to be an...
And are these questions from the audience? Are they pre-screened?
No, this is town hall format. I think they'd like to pre-screen them, but I think that kind of gets tossed out the window when the person in the audience actually asks the question.
When stands up and asks a question. And that's where Romney could fall short, is he doesn't connect with average working class voters as well.
And he doesn't think well on his feet. All those answers he was coming up with the other night, especially that Big Bird line, which I thought was a mistake.
Yeah, you thought so.
I
agree. Mentioning Big Bird might have been... I don't disagree with the policy. I think I agree. But see, we shouldn't be borrowing money from China to fund PBS. I agree with that.
I didn't know about that loan from China for PBS. But the thing is, it was not necessary for him to say Big Bird. Yeah. Automatically, it became a target for people to say.
Yes, that's true.
And then, so that was kind of something he didn't have to do. Another big thing yesterday was the announcement of the unemployment rate dropping below 8%.
Correct.
And then
back to where it started when Obama.
Actually, slightly less than what it was when Obama took office. It's 0.1% under that.
Okay.
But Jack Welch, who used to be CEO of General Electric, then came up with this allegation that the numbers were rigged because he tweeted.
I'm not surprised that wasn't an allegation. I'm not surprised that was an allegation.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Department of Labor, even Nixon couldn't get to the Department of Labor to get them to fix numbers for him.
He got the IRS to do stuff.
Well, he tried to get the IRS to do stuff. They were hesitant, but Department of Labor, those numbers are pretty well the way they come up with them.
Well,
and Welch in his interview with Chris Matthews said, "Well, I don't know any facts. I'm just saying it's kind of fishy." So, in other words, they're making bare allegations without having any facts to support them.
Yeah,
that's a typical Republican thing.
Oh yeah, right. It's somewhat similar to the questions about the polling. You see that Republicans are challenging the polls, at least until they started going in Romney's favor. And I see we're running out of time.
We are. We'll be right back. We'll start our next segment in a couple of minutes. Right back. And ironically, it's an Italian firm that is the main bidder on. It's Rhode Island based, but they're originally from Italy.